God's people, but Satan's trap. When you look at man is the most powerful being that God ever created. That's hard to believe because you see a lot of foolishness with man. You see a lot of idiots when you look at man. You see a lot of stupidity, a lot of ignorance when you look at man. So it's hard to believe how powerful man was actually created to be. It's hard to believe how powerful man actually is. But you are powerful. You are an amazing creation. The problem comes in when you factor in Satan's trap. Satan's trap. Everything that you can point out that has anything to do with the way this earth is being ran, it's a trap. Anything that you can point out that has anything to do with man's system, it's a trap. If it has to do with the way this world is being run, it's a trap. Satan, the devil, the wicked one, the Antichrist, has his hand in everything. The devil, or Satan, the serpent, the wicked one, the evil one, the deceiver, has his hand in everything. He is involved with every way this world is running. And that's Satan's trap. And man, with the power that we were created with this power that we possess, the power that we have to choose, mankind mainly chooses to be a part of Satan's trap more so than to be a part of the way God designed life to be. So yes, we are God's creation. We are God's people, but we are trapped in Satan's maze. I call it a maze because trying to get through life is just like trying to get through a maze. With God, we know which way to go. With God, we know exactly what we need to do. With God, we use the power that we have. With God, we're not stressed, depressed, or oppressed. Without God, you're just like a rat in a maze that doesn't know where he's going. Without God, you're just wide open. You don't even know what you're going to do tomorrow. You might get up, you might not. You might do what you know is right, you might not. Because you are without God. And if you look at people that's in Satan's trap, or they're in this maze and don't know where they're going, they always think because they ran into a $20 bill that they done something great. But if you look at them, they are still in the trap. You're still in that maze. That $20 don't mean nothing because you're still in the maze and you still don't know where you're going. You got a business, but when I look at your life, you're still a part of that trap. You're still in that maze and you still don't know where you're going. I know you got that Mercedes. I know you got that BMW, but you're still a part of that trap. You're still in that maze. You're still without God. You got that big house. I hear you praising God. I hear you testifying about what God did or what you say God did. But you yourself know that you're still in that maze. You yourself know that you still don't know where you're going. And I feel so sorry for people because coming out of that trap, getting out of that maze, really living by God's design, living by God's system, and actually knowing what you're doing, actually knowing how to live life, that is not easy. And you never will do it if you don't get your butt somewhere and sit down and study. Sit down and be honest with yourself. Be honest about the things you don't know. Be honest about the things you're not doing. Be honest about the places that you're not. Be honest about the things that you have not accomplished, that you should have accomplished by now. Just be honest and learn what you're supposed to learn. And when you learn, live by the truth that you learn. Until then, you will always be a part of that trap. Good brother, yeah, good brother, good sister. But you're still a part of that maze and you don't know where you're going. You're still a part of that trap and you don't know what you're doing. And we see a lot of good people. We see people that don't mean anybody any harm, but they're just in the maze, left, right, forward, backwards. They have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea where they're going. And they think they're doing something good because they won't be honest with themselves and admit what they don't know. Admit that they are not where they should be in life, but they sit up and keep lying to themselves. They keep faking in church. They keep faking in front of family. They keep talking big instead of just being honest with yourself and everybody around you so you can come up the right way, so you can come up for real, so you can stop just existing and start living. And the reason why people keep living that fake life, the reason why people keep pretending that they're something that they're not, is because many of us are living by what we learned from the back of the room. Many are trying to live for a God that we were taught in the back of the room. Now, let me explain what the back of the room is. Years ago, there was an experiment done in a meeting that I was in. And in this experiment, the teacher wrote one sentence on an index card. And the teacher read that sentence in the ear of one person sitting on the front row. That person who got the 100% right, 100% true sentence that was written had to tell that sentence to the next person. That person had to tell the next person. And that person had to tell the next person. And by the time they went from person to person, from row to row, and got to the back of the room, the last person to get the information had to stand up and say the sentence that's written on that card in the teacher's hand. And that last person in the back of the room made a statement. They spoke a sentence that had nothing to do with the sentence that was written on the card. So when we are here in 2023 trying to live our lives according to Scripture, trying to live our lives according to God, trying to live our lives based on what we have been taught to be true and what we have been taught to be right, we're just the last person in the room. We are the last person to get the information. But when you look at the person next to us who told us this, they think they're right because they got it from the person next to them, not knowing that it's been handed down wrong. When you look at the person who taught you how to live for God, that person got the information from somebody when they were younger or when they first came into the church. They got bad information. And the person who gave them the information thought they were right because they got it from somebody when they were younger and came into the church. And that person had bad information. So from the time Christ ascended and left the truth with his disciples, that word and that truth has been handed down and handed down and handed down. And now we're sitting up here this far in, and we're trying to live by something that is watered down. It's watered down so much until it's almost water itself. We trying to live by a word that's been compromised and changed so much till it's the furthest thing from the truth. And when we're doing this stuff that we were taught to do, we're not seeing the results that we're supposed to see. And it's because we have a tainted word. We have a tainted belief system because we were the last person in the room to get it. The only way you're going to live by the truth is to go to God, to hear directly from God, or to hear from a God-sent man of God. That's the only way you will ever truly live up to being God's people. That's the only way you will ever get out of Satan's trap. And now there are so many people who think they're living for God and they think they're on their way to heaven, not even knowing that what you're living by has nothing to do with what's up there on that card. What you think you know has nothing to do with the truth that Christ left for you to live by. Yes, you are God's people, but you haven't got out of Satan's trap.